Ida for not telling my ex-wife that we lived in a rental apartment. Hi. Back in 2008 when I started university, I rented a 2-bedroom apartment with my ex-girlfriend at the time and my friend and his girlfriend. We got a great deal for it, as the owner of the place lost his job because of everything that happened back then and decided to try her luck abroad where she still lives. Years went by and after university my friend and his GF decided to find a place of their own, as we had full-time jobs. Renting this apartment together did not seem expensive anymore, and also did not seem expensive to rent alone after we broke up some time later. So there I was, alone in a 2-bedroom apartment in the central part of the city. The owner decided that she was too lazy to mess with bills and stuff every month and made arrangements for me to pay everything directly. As I earned her trust, I still pay her monthly rent, which is very cheap for today, and deal with everything else having her authorization. Because of the perfect location, my second bedroom was basically free B&B for my friends who did not live in the city, and I did not mind. It is good to have company if you live alone. In 2020 I met a girl who was in a rush to get married, and as I was madly in love we did in 2021. For some reason, I never told her the story of how I rented the place or that it was a rental at all. It just never came up. I have been so used to the fact that I am an authorized representative with building cooperative things etc., that I refer to it as my place. Our relationship started to cool down and we found out that we were not perfect for each other after all. So divorce it is. So we did the paperwork for divorce and she is moving out. A few days ago I received an email from her with a real estate valuation document as an attachment. While I was not at home she wasted €500 for someone to evaluate an apartment that does not belong to us, and wrote that I probably have to take a loan to pay her the 50% of that. I replied to her, didn't I ever tell her that this place is a rental? Why does she even assume that I can afford a 2-bedroom apartment in the city center? She knows where I work and how much I earn. She called and screamed at me that I had lied to her for years and hid the fact that the apartment was rental. Then she tells me that, well, she will take the car as we got that together. And I was quiet for a moment and then told her, you do know that is a lease, right? The owner of the car is the bank. Then she demanded that I pay for the valuation and I replied I did not ask you to do it. She called me an asshole and ended the call. Of course, she told our whole friends group how I lied to her during the whole marriage, and there was a discussion in a messenger group with friends that is it a lie or not? Whether was it an asshole thing to do? Some agree with me and some with her. My best friend told me that this is a perfect topic for a Reddit thread. Now I ask you, Reddit, Ida? What happened to you as a child that feels like a punch to the gut every time you think about it? I was 4 years old when my dad married my stepmom, who had 3 kids of her own. One night me and my sister was woken up by my dad, who told us to come into the kitchen. We could instantly tell by his tone that he was mad about something, and I wondered what I had done this time to make him mad at me. The kitchen was a wreck, all the cabinets were open and stuff was thrown everywhere. On the table was a pile of bags of cookies, snack cakes, candy bars, and all sorts of goodies. My dad pointed to the table and said, go ahead, eat what you want, eat all of it if want to. My stepmom, stepbrother, and stepsisters were all standing in the kitchen not saying a word. My sister and I nervously walked up to the table, took something and began cautiously eating our treats. The snack cake I was eating was one I had never had before. I reached up to the table and got another and said, these are really good, you want one? And offered it one of my stepsisters. A look of fear crossed my stepmom and step-sibling's face as my dad snatched it out of my hand and threw it back on the table. No, I said, you eat it. My dad yelled. My sister, who is older than me, asked what's going on? My stepmom yelled, just eat the damn cake. And my dad shot my stepmom a look that made everyone else not say a single word until me and my sister finished our snack cakes. You want another one? Go ahead, eat everything on the whole table if you want to, my dad said. My sister and I, feeling really nervous having everyone watch us eat, said we weren't hungry and went back to bed. We never spoke of that night again. It took several years before I realized what had happened that night. My stepmom, whose kids were much older than me and my sister, had been hiding the snacks and giving them to her kids after she sent us to bed, and my dad caught her. After that night there always seemed to be snacks in the house. I know a parent loves their own kids more than stepchildren, but to purposely exclude me and my sister like that just showed me how little she cared for us.